Matt Hardy. Thank you for watching the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast.
Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast. My name is Ant, and today I'm joined by my sleepy brother, only as sleepy as his name is long. It's... Your housemate's going to kill you. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us in the live review. Like I say, if you put all your questions down and all your thoughts of the review as we go along, we'll get to them all at the end of the review. So we'll just cover the review first and then answer all your questions. So get right in, brothers and sisters. You ready to go, Dom?
Yes, indeed. We are ready for everyone. We are ready for your comments. We are ready for your highs and your lows.
I can't wait to hear your lows. Have you got lows?
Good. Well, I was just saying. It was a good pay-per-view. It was a good pay-per-view. It was a good NXT. This is how tired I am. Good NXT overall. Some really good matches. A couple of duds that were still all right.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I don't think it felt out special, and I don't know if it built up Takeover 30 enough. I'll give it that. But actually, in terms of wrestling action, there was some pretty decent wrestling on it, so I can't really fault that.
Scott says, AEW had 2 hours of John Cena versus John Cena. What a poop show. AEW do better. Nice.
AEW do better even with John Cena versus John Cena.
Do better.
First match of the card was Johnny Gargano versus Ridge Holland. Yes. What do you think, Dom?
Yorkshire's own Ridge Holland.
Yorkshire.
Yeah, a bit of Yorkshire grit coming into NXT in the US. Great to see from our perspective. Decent match. Both put on a great show. Obviously, Johnny Gargano got injured halfway through that with a really, really kind of mean-looking power slam type thing.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, I was impressed. I didn't look at any spoilers before this, so I did not. I didn't expect Johnny to win because you told me about the injury angle. So, I didn't expect him to win, but he did, and I guess that makes more sense from a ladder match perspective.
It makes the ladder match into a bigger deal. I mean, you've got two sort of well-established NXT guys within that ladder match in both Velveteen Dream and Johnny Gargano, and that's I think that makes the match a slightly bigger affair. So I can understand why they do that. I think adding Ridge in wouldn't necessarily have elevated it at this point.
You've got Damian Priest in there, and a couple of others as well. That kind of have that, up and comer vibe about them. Yeah.
So you've got to have a couple of guys that have been there a while, which is why I was expecting them to put Balor in, to be honest with you, as well. But obviously they didn't. In terms of the match itself, I thought it was a really good match. I really like Ridge Holland's offense, the way that he uses sort of a lot of rugby tackle type stuff and barges Johnny Gargano out the ring. And if anyone's going to sell it, it's Gargano. The injury, I'm surprised the show does it. It looked really nasty. Really rough. To me, it looked like Johnny jumped quite a lot, and so Ridge didn't realise the angle that he was going at when he come. But, whoever's fault it was, it doesn't matter. It was an injury, and actually, if he was concussed, he shouldn't have been wrestling afterwards, to be perfectly honest. I know that they did stop filming the match, so it must have taken some time to sort Johnny out. So, and obviously they did a little bit quite after that as well, so yes, I thought the match was really good.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with both of them, really.
In fact, it was my match of the night, I'll say that now.
Yeah, I would probably agree with you, actually.
Going into the next match, it was Dakota Kai, and Dakota Kai has obviously got a match this weekend, so she was facing Jessie Kamiya.
Yeah, Dakota Kai, a great all-round performance. Obviously, it wasn't probably one of the more sort of sleeper matches, quote unquote. But I enjoyed Kamiya's work, most of Kamiya's work. Obviously, as a new face to the brand, obviously Dakota Kai, ever since she's become a heel, has put on some cracking matches, some great heel work. Obviously, she was pretty good. pretty good as a face as well, but probably got a bit more attitude when she went heel.
Indeed, yeah.
So good to see her in that, in that role really. And I was impressed. I didn't expect Camille to get the win. It's a good little push for Dakota Kai to go into a takeover. Probably going to lose that match, in my opinion. But
Oh God, yeah.
Still needs a good push. Obviously, I think she went over tonight and it put her in a good stead for that match.
Yeah. So, in terms of Jessie, I thought she was a little bit. There was a couple of moves where I was like, that really looked like it connected quite hard, and I don't think like when she fell into that sort of back knee.
Yeah,
sort
like
of
a spinning wheel kick sort of thing.
I mean, it looked cool, but it looked like it knocked Dakota sort of senseless a little bit. Dakota is a talented wrestler, man. I mean, them face washes are some of the best in the industry, man. And she's a talented wrestler. I'm quite looking forward to Saturday. At the end of the match, obviously, Io Shirai came out to challenge Dakota Kai, and she was saved by Raquel Gonzalez, who I haven't been watching NXT, but I don't believe she's been on NXT for a while.
No, I think she's kind of like the henchman of Dakota at the moment.
Yeah, so I enjoyed the little segment afterwards. I thought that was more important than the match. It was okay. It was okay. What I'd say. Next match was Legado del Fantasma versus Breezango and Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Yeah, I love Swerve. Love Breezango. Back in NXT, put on a decent showing. Both teams put on a decent showing tonight. I think Phantasma are going to go further. I think they've got a tag team title shot coming up, but I don't think they're going to win that. But I think as a all round sort of match, it was pretty cool and some great talents, particularly Swerve. Obviously, great to see Fandango and Tyler Breeze in a prominent spot on NXT. Phantasma will go on to do great things, I think, on the main roster in the next couple of years. So huge, like I say, huge things expected for these guys. Didn't necessarily have the chance to showcase that in this match, but overall, decent showing from everybody.
Yeah, I didn't really care about the match was the problem. It didn't really drag me into anything. The feud has been sort of a bit weak, in my opinion. The stuff happening in the ring was all just fine, but it didn't feel special. It sort of highlighted, I think, how weak the tag division is, to be perfectly honest, in NXT at the minute. It's a real shame that TakeOver, you've got Imperium as your champions, and we have no tag team match at TakeOver, just a tag team contenders match, which seems really disappointing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, we'll see what happens. We'll see how it develops. I'm quite a big fan of Larkin and Birch, and they've got a tag team title shot coming up. So
it's a number one contender title match at TakeOver. Next up, the segment that everyone's going to be talking about: Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee in a showdown of words.
I enjoyed Pat McAfee's promo. I know you didn't. I thought it was a perfect wrestling promo, a little bit over the top, which is just what it needed to be. Adam Cole came back with a perfect retort. I'm going to make you my B word. It was simple wrestling storyline in the way that wrestling storylines have been done for the last 10 to 15 years. Great to see Pat McAfee really enjoy getting in the ring, whether you like it or not. I think he found it entertaining, and I think other people will find it entertaining. I think it'll bring a different audience to NXT. I was very impressed.
Cool. So the thing, I like the idea of him bringing other people in. I assume they were footballers.
I think so, or certainly his henchmen from his show.
Yeah, right. I didn't recognize them from the show. They're more nerdy than them, so I think it was NFL players. I wonder if they're going to set up something for Undisputed and Pat McAfee and his gang for Survivor Series. To be perfectly honest,
we'll see.
Sort of an NFL thing. I couldn't stop laughing at Pat McAfee because he was doing loads of shoulder stuff. His stance was like he was wide open legged at times, looking a bit like Charlie Chaplin. His promos have been outstanding up to this point, I think, from the sort of talking on the commentary from that angle, but also the segment on his own show I thought was great. This just felt like he was doing a bad wrestling promo to me, but Dom liked it and other people in
Yeah,
the chat liked it, which is
I was a
cool.
huge fan of it, to be honest. Yeah.
Cool. You hadn't said a negative thing yet, Dom.
You suck.
Thank you. Rhea Ripley and Shotzi Blackheart versus Aaliyah and Mercedes Martinez.
I'm a little bit sour on this Robert Stone brand right now. I like Robert Stone when he was in Impact Wrestling. I think they could have done more with him. I know you don't like the fact he doesn't wear socks, but I think there's something missing with that gimmick and something missing with Aaliyah particularly. And obviously, we'll wait and see how that develops. But I really like Shotzi Blackheart. I'm not sure what they're doing with Rhea at the moment. But she deserves a bigger platform, and I think Shotzi Blackheart is really entertaining. Although I suppose the problem with that kind of gimmick is it's probably already it's already being done on the main roster with the Riot Squad. So there is a shelf life for that type of gimmick, I imagine. But still very entertaining. Still enjoyed it. I am not, like I say, I'm not saying because Alex has just said I like the Robert Stone brand right now. Yeah, I can see why people would like it. I'm still waiting to kind of have that spark from it, really, because I know that Robert Stone can do a lot.
In terms of wrestling, I thought the match was fine. My biggest bugbear is I didn't really want to see Shotzi and Aaliyah in this match. I just want to see Rhea and Mercedes Martinez go at it like properly, and I understand building towards that match, but like that feels like the money match right there. And if this is a build to it, that's fine. But obviously, we've got a pay-per-view this weekend. I feel that that's the sort of match that could have been on the pre-show and been great. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
Actually, I thought the Shotzi and Aaliyah sort of took away from that a little bit for me. And it was all fine. Rhea's great, and Mercedes Martinez is great. But the other two are fine wrestlers, but they didn't really do out to add to that feud for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I can understand that. There's not really the story hasn't been amplified or developed anymore.
And it feels like two big fighters that had put on a great show, you know what I
mean? Yeah.
So that's sort of my thoughts on that. Next up, we had Velveteen Dream versus Finn Balor. Velveteen Dream took the win here. Wow.
Yeah.
Go on, Dom.
I mean, just to add to the last match, I think Alex has booked Ripley versus Martinez in a last woman standing match. I quite like that.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
But yeah, going to Velveteen Dream and Gargano. Velveteen Dream took this. I think this was a surprise to everybody, but then we shouldn't be surprised because it's WWE, and WWE have a history of booking themselves into massive holes with regards to talent, that perhaps shouldn't be pushed or perhaps shouldn't be given a platform at this present time. I'm not saying that Velveteen Dream doesn't isn't charismatic enough to carry it, because of course he is. I'm not saying that he doesn't have a great deal of talent, because of course he does. But unfortunately right now, given his extracurricular issues, I don't necessarily think it's the right time to be pushing him. I would have much preferred Balor go over here. I think everybody in our chat probably agrees with us. Everybody with us in the stream, a few more people that were with us, all agreed that Balor should have gone over. So, my concern is that there are two veterans, like you said at the beginning of this. There's two veterans in this now. There's there's Dream
and
Gargano. Now that's going to make for some really good spots. However, are you going to give that to Bronson Reed? Are you going to give that to any of the other guys? I doubt it right now. So that leaves Gargano, who's already had it, who's potentially coming off a concussion, and it leaves Dream. And I think the worst thing WWE could do for their advertising and marketing right now, and social media and all that stuff, is to give Dream a championship.
Agreed, completely.
They have already dug themselves into a hole. They are already getting slated. There are articles all over the internet about how WWE fans should, like I say, should, coulda, woulda, etc. You can't tell people what to do, be boycotting the product and etc. because because of their actions towards Dream. And like we said before we started our stream initially, you can't blame Triple H for the actions of the media team that reported that none of those accusations were founded that were made against Dream. But equally, that's it's come out that's false, because there are the person that made the accusations, particularly in the speaking out movement, has come back and said WB haven't contacted them. Now we don't know that person. We don't know what they're going through. We don't know if that's real or if it's false. But there should be some real effort made in the next few weeks and months, especially if they want to push Dream on TV as a face or a heel.
But the problem is they won't now. They'll drop it.
It doesn't really matter in this day and age. The problem is, I mean, the difference is, I suppose, is now a witch hunt can last your entire career because of social media.
Yeah.
So whereas when, and I'm not naming names associated with specific things, but we'll talk about the broader sense of people that have done quote unquote wrong things or had issues. Your Jimmy Snuckers, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Who have made grave errors in the wrestling business. Even Hulk Hogan's on that list in terms of things he's said. Vince McMahon is on that list, obviously, with regards to some accusations with regards to sort of assault and things like that, sexual assault. So the wrestling industry now is under a lot more scrutiny because social media is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you wanted to, you could hashtag on Twitter Velveteen Dream, and you could find out some pretty horrific stuff, I'm sure, or pretty frightening stuff. Same with anybody really, in this day and age. Whereas I guess in the 80s and 70s and etc. in the 90s, when it was perhaps even more rife than ever.
Absolutely, yeah.
You didn't have that, so.
Well, it was still there. It wasn't seen. It wasn't spoken about. Yeah.
WWE will continue to brush this under the carpet, but then, as we know with the speaking out movement, that may only last so long.
That's it. People won't let them forget this now.
That's what I mean. If there is something to this, and this guy doesn't go away, doesn't disappear, that's come back and said they didn't contact me, it will come back. The first accusations against Dream, I believe, were 2-3 years ago that got brushed over again.
It was only about a year ago. It wasn't that long ago. And it was the same person as well. It's all come out again as part of speaking out.
Yeah. So I think that's what I mean. So we'll go. Sorry, I'll let you do your.
It's all right.
Match roundup. But for me, it was the wrong decision to give Dream that win.
Cool. So because we've gone off the match, I'd rather just give my opinions on that first, and then I'll go to the match. I found it uncomfortable to watch again, and the issue is Velveteen Dream is such a sensual character. He's doing the whole Goldust stuff, which means gyrating hips in Finn Balor's face and stuff like that. And all it does is remind you of what's happened, and you can come to your own conclusions on that. And there's you can read about it or not. But for me, I'm like, it's just cringe. It's really cringy, and it makes it difficult to watch the match. I'm not saying he's not a great talent. He is a great talent. He's so charismatic, but that's also part of the problem. It's a bit like Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan is never going to be able to come back. And please, I'm not comparing him. I'm not comparing the stuff they've done because everyone's individual and that. But in terms of in ring, they have a very sexual gimmick.
Yes, you're right.
And it's very difficult when you have that and you've been accused of some stuff that's not right, that you're watching the matches and it's reminding you of it. And the problem is, you can't change Velveteen Dream's. Well, you can change Velveteen's gimmick, but he's also so good at that gimmick. And it's not Joey Ryan. It's not silly. It was a wonderful main event gimmick that could have been pushed to the stars. But now, I'm struggling to see that. I'm struggling to see it work.
Yeah, I'm really, really, really struggling. I I'm really, really struggling with WWE right now as a product. I'd have felt much more comfortable watching AEW tonight. I really wanted to see the Ridge Holland match because I'm from Yorkshire. That's great. It's a great thing for people from where we're from to see that, because you don't get many people from where we are in a WWE ring. So I love the fact we got to watch that. I love the fact that we got to see some great wrestling across the card. But when you look at Velveteen Dream, and I'll be honest here, used to be one of my favorite wrestlers in NXT.
Snap.
And unfortunately, this is a much bigger debate than we can afford to have at this time of night and on this stream. But like I said, we have discussed it before, and it's an age-old discussion that
it'll be going on, won't it, man? Because
we've had this discussion about musicians, artists,
yeah,
people that we grew up loving that now we've changed our opinion on. It's whether you can separate the art from the artist. Now, clearly, the majority of viewers can, because nobody's cancelled WWE. Nobody's calling for WWE to fire. Well, I'm sure there are people on Twitter, but nobody. And we'll do this in quotes because I don't mean to disrespect anybody. Nobody from a major news network is calling for Velveteen Dream to be fired, or anything like that. And I think that it's a systematic issue. Is when you've got fame and when you've got a backing, you've got money behind you, backing, etc. You can, quote unquote, and I keep doing that. I apologize because I don't want to be disrespectful, but equally, it's just the way it is. You can afford to pay your way out, buy your way out of things, and WWE have been accused, and it has been stated, I'm not sure about proven, but it's certainly been stated quite a lot that WWE have paid out to make things go away.
Yep.
So, and I think when you've got $1 billion company behind you, and it's been reported as well that Vince McMahon is very high on Velveteen Dream as a performer, you can afford to brush things under the carpet, and I think that's what we're seeing here. No major news networks are reporting and saying there have been people, of course, that have done that.
Well, we'll see where it goes because the Triple H thing's quite fresh, and that's the first company's sort of stance on it.
Yeah. I mean, they've suggested that we as fans boycott the product, but Velveteen Dream is still a ratings draw for NXT, and unfortunately, and that is unfortunate because what the best thing he could have done is go off TV for 6 to 12 months plus. Well, 6 to 12 months maybe.
I agree, man. I agree.
And then come back, come back when more has been done.
Well, actually, what I'd rather have is for him to sort it out and sort of apologise or what have you, or do what needs to be done. If
you look at the best example of how this has been done, I mean, obviously people can attack. People may say differently to me, but I think the way that AEW have handled the Jimmy Havoc situation, particularly, that was some really harsh stuff, and that was proven. That was some really, really harsh stuff that Jimmy Havoc was accused of, and they got him some counselling, and they sent him off to his counselling, and then what are we on? 3 months later, they have let him go. They've made a decision based on their, what the business needs, etc. Now, I'm not saying, I mean, Velveteen Dream is another kettle of fish to Jimmy Havoc, because in terms of a ratings draw, you're not going to look at Jimmy Havoc in the same way you look at Velveteen Dream. However, it was a very well handled situation. Mm-hmm. In some ways, not in others. There were other examples that aren't so well handled from an AEW perspective, but WWE should have, could have, would have, of course. I'm just here on YouTube talking to you guys, but I think that the WWE should have sent him off for counselling and taken a leaf out of AEW's book, although probably Vince is too proud to do that. Triple H is too proud to do that.
100%. And what they're doing is the opposite. They're denying it. And
which is a WWE thing to do.
But we should, as people, we should recognise that and say that's not right. And one of the things you said was Havoc's was really bad, and it was really bad. Velveteen Dreams was really bad as well. In terms of the age of the people involved in it, that's criminal. So, and that's my issue with it. I don't. If it wasn't minors, then I wouldn't have an issue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
as
no,
much of an issue. That's my issue.
yeah, no, well, yeah, I know. Obviously, we'd still have an issue, but it'd be much less severe, I suppose.
Well,
Um,
yeah, because we've all done stuff like that, or people haven't, or what have you, or people use a position of power and stuff like that, and that's all wrong. But the level of wrongness was stepped up with the age of the people that it was involved, and the knowledge of the age of the people it involved.
I think because, like I say, I think what you're trying to say, and I do get it. Like, obviously, people, we haven't done anything like this in our past, but we know people that have made mistakes, and people can make mistakes, and I think that if
Absolutely, yeah.
you make mistakes and you learn from them, obviously,
Yeah.
this is the first time Velveteen Dream has been accused of these types of actions.
Yeah.
So I think that if you learn from them and you develop and you become a better person, I'm absolutely for that. It's a big part
Yeah.
of personal
Part
progression.
of reform, yeah.
But you look at WWE's products and how much money it generates. It's just sad that this is the way it is. They can afford to pay for the best lawyers. They can afford to pay people off. They can afford to give them sums of money to quiet them down. And that might have been what's happened here.
I don't think any money's been given, because if it did, the person, the accuser wouldn't have said they haven't contacted me, because that would have been part of the stipulation.
I mean, Alex makes a good point. Maybe it should have been Tommaso Ciampa in Dream Spot, and I agree with that.
Agreed, yeah.
Like I say, there's been a lot of backlash, and I can't imagine what it's like for Velveteen Dream at the moment to be backstage talking to talent.
He's got a lot of heat.
Yeah, talking to fellow talent. Seth makes a point. Kobe makes a point rather that. What are fans that when fans come back? What are people going to do to Velveteen Dream?
If he was in the UK, there'd be some seriously nasty chance.
Yeah, there would be, absolutely.
There would be some serious nasty chance.
Seth makes a point as well. It's $1 billion company, but it's publicly traded, so WWE is supposed to listen to its viewers, and supposed to keep tabs on social media.
Well, listen to its shareholders,
and shareholders as well, and of course, the problem is Vince is so out of touch.
Mm-hmm.
I think he sees stuff and thinks, right, okay, he's great. We'll have him. We'll push him to the moon. I'm talking about Velveteen Dream here, because Vince will be looking at things like diversity. He'll be looking at things like, look, charisma. He basically knows that Velveteen Dream's ripping off the Macho Man.
Yeah.
And he loves that. And that's why Dream is still in is in the spot he's in. A lot of that heat not only comes from Dream's actions, but it's reported that he has got away with a lot of stuff over the years, backstage, and the way he's dealt with some of his career choices.
Yeah.
So I think there is that.
Then again, we need an external body to start looking into these things that are happening and sort of doing it how other spots do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean,
I'll go quickly into the match, because sorry, I don't think we've talked about. Sorry,
Sorry, dude.
It's all right, dude. No, we just went off because obviously it's a massive subject, man, and it's one that we're trying to approach sensitively, because it is sensitive, and we've all got our opinions on them, and we don't know all the details, but ultimately, it's affecting my enjoyment of watching the product, and I'm sure there'll be other people that don't feel like that, and there'll be other people that do feel like that, and that's the way I look at it, So in terms of the match, yeah, I struggled watching it. Was it a good match? Yeah, it looked great, but again, I struggled watching it. What I did like is when Cameron Grimes came out, and then we had all the guys that had been in.
Actually, yeah. I'm getting more into him as the weeks go on.
Yeah, he's fun, man. He's really fun. I'd be quite happy with seeing him win, to be honest. I think he's so much fun. Damian Priest obviously came out, and they had sort of a big blow off with all the guys involved in the ladder match. They sort of got involved. It took away a little bit from the match, but I was okay at that point because I wasn't seeing Dream, to be perfectly honest. Then after the match, obviously Dream won, and they all attacked each other. Now, I really enjoyed this, actually. It felt like, do you remember that old SmackDown episode where Kurt Angle comes out and does an Olympic slam to someone, and Kane comes out and does a choke slam, then Undertaker comes out and delivers a last ride, then Stone Cold comes out and stuns everyone and waves off to the crowd. It felt a bit like that, and I quite enjoyed that. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that, seeing everyone doing each other's finishes to each other, and seeing, who was it who stood tall?
It was Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed, thank you. I wanted to say Jeff Cobb, although I think he might be going to WWE, by the way. So I enjoyed that part of it, and I enjoyed that storytelling towards the end. So if you was to give this episode a rating, Dom, out of 5 gave stars, how many would you give it?
I would give it 2.5.
Yeah, I'd give it 2.5. I thought it was a fine show. We'll talk a bit about that in a second. In terms of best performer?
Best performer? Ooh. Pat McAfee.
Okay. I'm going to go for Ridge Holland. I thought it was really fun. Enjoyed his work, and it's nice seeing a fresh face. That's from Yorkshire. The best match?
Gargano and Ridge.
Great opener, a good way to keep our attention for the rest of the show. A quick question before we go into your questions. Do you think this was a good show to put on with not having AEW on TV tonight?
It was better than I expected it to be. And right now, with a WWE perspective, again, with exception to Velveteen Dream, it was the best I could have hoped for, I think.
It was a better show, I think, than last week in general, but it didn't. That was mainly for the wrestling. It didn't really have any forwarding of any storylines. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously you had the people entering a ladder match, but in terms of forwarding of the storylines, this is the opportunity to grab people and get them interested in something. And like the Fandango and all that match, Phantasma, just not interesting. And actually, you can use that time or use their that segment, even with them, to build something that people would invest in and then keep wanting to watch every Wednesday, like we want to see Cody versus Dark Order, Brody Lee. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Rock and roll. We're going to go through your comments. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We do appreciate it and hope you enjoy the format of these. Jack says Jack is back. Awesome. AEW had 2 hours of John Cena. There we go. It's all good. We've seen that. Deja Vu. Good morning, chaps. It is 4 o'clock in the morning. Thank you for joining us still, Graham. You night owl, you. Why are they beating Holland, though? Why are they beating Holland, Dom?
I mean, obviously we're kind of biased a little bit. I thought he was ready. I think he's ready for a big push. I think if Vince and Triple H see something in him, he will have a big push. But I don't think. I think from a logical perspective, like you said, I think it makes sense to have Gargano in that ladder match.
Yeah. So, but why put him in the match that Gargano wins over? Do you know what I mean? I'd say the reason for that is to put Ridge in that sort of storyline and working with someone like Gargano, you know. So I think it's still giving him sort of a spotlight, even though he's not in the actual match. It still was a great match. I thought it was the best match on the card, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
What should his chant be? That should be his chant. Yorkshire. Indeed, dude.
The problem with that, and we've found this at gigs in the UK, is that Yorkshire, if you say it in a big crowd, it sounds like something else.
It does.
And Americans do not get it.
No, they wouldn't. No.
So if I just chant, I'll try. Obviously, I have other people in this house where I am. So
Yorkshire.
Yeah. Yorkshire. So if we were to do that in unison with a bunch of other people, it would sound like perhaps an American bands have frequently said, and they've actually asked me when I've done interviews with them, because they know I'm from Yorkshire, they're like, are you saying that you are S word? So you're
not very good.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that actually comes as a problem. So I would love to hear the Yorkshire chant.
If we see Ridge Holland, we're doing it.
Well, I'm gonna pitch to interview him, you know.
Oh, yeah, cool. You should do, man. You definitely should do. Holland's entrance music is a banger. It does feel like they've put a lot of production behind him, Scott, and that's sort of a good way to sort of push him. What do you think, Dom? Did you hear the entrance music?
Yeah, I did. I quite liked it. Yeah,
it's good.
Honestly, it's great. You know, this must be what it's like for people from all over America when when someone from their hometown comes out and they get all excited. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I finally get it, because, like, I mean, even though Ligero was from Leeds, obviously we certainly can't cheer Ligero at the moment.
No.
And we didn't see Ligero that often, really. You know,
Well, we
on
saw him
top
live, yeah.
it was on NXT
Yeah.
UK, but again, from a mainstream American perspective, in terms of WWE, you didn't see him too often. So
No.
I think this is a big deal for people from our region of our country and certainly our part of the world.
It's
So
great.
to see him in the spotlight like this is huge.
Indeed, it is. I agree completely. Jack says Jules Holland. I don't believe it was Jules Holland doing his song, Jack, but that would be ironic. Gimmick works great as well. I really like the gimmick, so it works for an American audience as well, I think. If it's anybody who can take it and kick out, it's Johnny Wrestling. Jokes aside, hopefully he's okay. Yeah, I hope he can fight on Saturday, to be honest, because he'd be good in that ladder match, obviously. Why wasn't the 1, 2, 3 kid on it? I don't know. Kai calls her Diesel to her Shawn Michaels. Yeah, we didn't talk about the Tegan Knox promo, but there wasn't a lot to it, was there, a backstage?
No, I thought it was a very intense promo and pretty good as a basic wrestling promo. But you made a point. There was nothing monumental about it.
No, it didn't grab me, certainly. You mean X-Pac? They're all having a laugh here in chat about that. You think Imperium will be booked better when Walter and Wolf come to NXT?
I mean, to be fair, for two European lads who've obviously moved over there, I'm pretty impressed that they're in the position they're in.
Well, there was in NXT before. I think they live in America and they have done for a long time. They just come over for NXT UK tapings, I think. So they've been in Florida at the Performance Center for a long time now.
It's really good to see them in that position.
Yeah, but the problem is they're not at Takeover, which is stupid. You could give them a match with Danny Burch and Lorcan on the kickoff show. It'd be wonderful. All this Phantasma. Sort of give them that. Yeah, I think that's a real disappointment because I believe they're one of the best tag teams in WWE. I think the character work is outstanding, and I'm high on them in Imperium. Actually, a good promo for a non-wrestler. That's a Pat McAfee. Alex likes the Robert Stone brand right now. You like the Robert Stone brand, don't you, Dom?
I like Robert Stone. I think he's a great talent. I think sometimes I get confused between the two. I think the Robert Stone brand needs a little more work, but I think there's a lot of potential with Robert Stone, particularly as a manager and as a character.
Yeah, Ripley. Alex Smith says he'd like to see Ripley versus Martinez, last woman standing. That'd be great. But again, I felt like this would be a good show to show that and not put the sort of fluff around it, which should be, in this case, Shotzi and Leah, and have them go at it. You've got eyes of AEW fans able to see a decent women's match, which AEW fans don't often get because the AEW women's division isn't very stacked at the minute. So that felt like a little bit of a missed opportunity for me. Alex says you've got a great point, Dom. Don't know what your point is, but it's good. It looks like we're getting Thatcher versus Balor.
That's good.
Cool. What did Jimmy Snuka do? Kill his girlfriend, Seth says. Nothing that's been proved in law. No, because he died before they could prove anything. Dang, I didn't know that, but he did it. Lol. Lol, Seth says. He did it. Lol. Murder. Lol. Was it alleged or proven? Hey, Kobe. Nice to see you in chat. I'll have to go and check your video out in a minute. They make you do mental gymnastics at best. Dream shouldn't be on TV, so we're getting into a lot of Dream stuff here. Just my opinion. Remember, this billion-dollar company is publicly traded. USA #1. Lol. Indeed. It's a terrible situation. I agree with you, Alex. I'm not saying he did anything, but should probably look into it. Yeah, or have some sort of apology or anything, or I'll get better, or we won't let this happen again, or anything, but we're not getting it. I'm sure we'll be talking about this for a long time to come, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Just think when fans come back and what they will say to Dream. Yeah, indeed, Kobe. At the UK shows, he would get destroyed. Agreed, Dom. He needs time away from TV. I think you're right, Dom. I think 12 months off would be wonderful for Dream. Yeah, maybe they should have put Ciampa in his spot. Absolutely. Oh, in the UK, be crucifix. Graham says, if the high-ups are willing to bend over backwards to protect people of ill moral fibre, makes you wonder what their moral stance is. Or where their moral stance is.
Indeed.
It does, Graham. Graham, I noticed after you left the live show review, you made a suggestion, which is a great suggestion actually, about sharing it on Facebook because he didn't realise we was live until about an hour later. The problem with Facebook, though, is it doesn't send out messages very quickly for us, and actually impressions are really slow out the DOM, especially on our YouTube stuff.
We used to, because our biggest audience, we have over 1,500 people on our Facebook. So ideally, you would imagine that we would have a really good access to a really good audience there. But in fact, the impressions and the access that we do get, specifically when it comes to transferring to YouTube, Twitter, etc., is quite minimal.
Very minimal. And the problem is they basically want us to pay to get their messages out to you. So, I mean, we've tried to start using Twitter a lot more. I don't know if you use Twitter, but if you do, go follow us there. Dom does tweet out at the start of the show generally.
Graham does use Twitter, I know. So
no excuse. Filthy mouse, no excuse. Find a new way to hang this noose. Comb my hair.
What? I missed that.
Bit of Linkin Park love.
What?
Oh, okay. So follow us on Twitter. The other thing you can do, so we tend to put the live streams up a couple of hours before. If you hit the bell button on YouTube, it'll inform you if we're going live, and then choose whether you want to watch it or stay up or what have you. Sorry to go into that, but I thought let's talk about it. WWE doesn't have morals, says Seth. Kobe says, will NXT lose viewers from Velveteen Dream winning? I think they're going to gain viewers this week because of AEW not being on.
100%.
I think it's going to divide lines a lot more. There'll be a lot of hate from AEW fans using this as a way to attack the company.
Yeah.
It gives them a good excuse, doesn't it? Best performer, Gargano. Alex, I can't necessarily disagree with you. It was nice for me to see Rich Holland, to be perfectly honest. Same with you, Dom?
Yep, absolutely.
Gargano's awesome. Or there were game viewers like the Montreal Screwjob. Controversy makes cast. I don't think so in this situation. Do you, Dom?
No, not at all.
No. Seth says he doesn't see it happening. My bold prediction for NXT TakeOver, says Scott. Karrion Kross pins Keith Lee Saturday. Keith Lee then will be on Raw or SmackDown in the coming weeks. Ooh. What do you think? We might be doing a predictions video in the next few days, so we'll have a proper chat about it then, I think.
It's a bold prediction, man.
It's a bold prediction.
Like you said, there's so many factors to that. Is it too early for Karrion Kross to lose? So many questions there.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah, so I think we are planning currently to do a predictions video, so maybe that's something we can discuss in the next few days and weeks.
Sounds good, man. Sorry, you're looking tired. Are you all right with me going through these?
Yes.
Just look at the Montreal Screwjob. I hope when Dunn comes back, he feuds with Thatcher. Yeah, there was building to that before Dunn stopped TV. It would make sense because Dunn chose for Thatcher to replace him in the tag team spot with Riddle, and then Thatcher did end up turning on Riddle. Yeah, makes complete sense. I'd like to see their matches as well. Sounds you're poopy. Is our sound not very good?
Jack is trying to imitate the your S word channel.
Right, rock and roll. He's El Ligero to me. He'll always be El Ligero to me too, Kobe. But right now, I don't even want to see him. Speaking of Americans, this is what Graham says. Not understanding some of our chants. Off topic, I know, but once I was at a WWE live event, sounds perfectly on topic to me, dude. I think it was Raw, and Sheamus came out as the Money in the Bank holder. The entire arena chanted briefcase hanky. None of the Yanks understood it, and it got censored for the TV broadcast. Yeah, it will do. Censored from our YouTube. Yeah, well, the UK fans are the best, to be perfectly honest. They'll really let you know how they feel. I think that might be why WWE were afraid to put a big four show here, because we'd hijack the show, man, these days.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, really, the fans hijacked the show in '92, but that was like nice people.
Yeah.
We're no longer nice, are we?
No, we're woke.
Alex said, I love how in NXT people can lose at TakeOver and then get a push, like Priest's loss against Balor, and now he's going for the championship. I don't watch enough NXT to sort of comment on that in terms of.
I mean, yeah, it does happen a lot. But I mean,
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's another debate, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah. Let's look at the positive, says Kobe. 2 big wrestlers fighting over the most coveted championship on NXT, Keith Lee and Karrion Kross. I'm glad you're excited for it, Kobe. And Kobe is really looking forward to it. I think Shida should have a 5-way with Rose, Swole, Abaddon, and Ford. Then have Shida win and have Swole and Shida shake hands and have Britt attack both of them to lead to a triple threat.
Okay, a bit of AEW stuff here. Fair enough, man. Yeah, I mean, that'd be good. Britt's great.
Well, Shida has nothing to do at the minute at the All Out, which turned into an angle which was stupid. It just showed how weak the women's division are. I think they're just going to do Nyla Rose and Shida again. I think I said that on chat the other night to you, Alex.
It's possible, isn't it? It's possible.
At this point, it sort of feels like it. Then Britt wins. I mean, you could do a triple threat or something. I think 5-way is a bit too much, but maybe Abaddon and Swole.
I love stuff like that. If AEW did an Elimination Chamber, I'd be super happy about it.
Yeah, a cage, something like that. Something fun.
Love Elimination Chamber.
Then Britt wins the title. Sorry. Yeah, I've read that. Seth, I hit the notification bell thingy, so should never be bored again, right? Right. We do not promise not to bore you, right? It's 4:15 in the morning. We're trying our best.
Yeah, man. Yeah, just I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're with us.
You're so tired, aren't you, love? That's really all right. We're nearly done, love. We're nearly done. Yes, you should, Graham. Graham, it'll be awesome to see you more on these videos. It's great having you here. Last question. If they have a show here, are you guys going? If so, let's do a meetup.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Dude, absolutely. A show's going to be a long way off, aren't they? But yeah, absolutely. Like, as long as I think if AEW was doing Fyter Fest, we would have gone to that, even if it was in London, wouldn't we?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So and we'll quite happily arrange a meetup in a cafe or a public house.
Yeah, public house. Yes, a nice public house. Cafe. Indeed.
Rock and roll. Graham says, mate, I'm at work and there's nothing going on. I'm loving this. Good, Graham. I'm glad we can keep you entertained, my friend. Back to the Priest comment. Priest had a great showing. I like that you don't have to win to look good and get a push in NXT. Yeah, good. Cool. I was really impressed with Priest last week. That's all I can sort of say.
Yeah, that's good, man. I'm glad you like Priest now.
I don't like him. I was just really impressed.
Yeah. Well,
I still think his character's a bit weird.
I'm glad you're impressed anyway.
Dom, sign us out.
All right. Okay. Cool, guys. Okay. So you guys, everybody was there. I'm going to do it in case people come back. So at the end of every episode, we do a 5 count, a bit like a Claymore, except I know that's 3. So I'm going to count you down. Obviously, it's really early in the morning here. So if you're with your partner, do not shout. Do not cry. Just whisper. If you are in a house on your own with no housemates, please do shout.
Just whisper to your teddy.
Or just whisper to your teddy. On 5. 5. Wait, no, not on 5. On 1. Yeah, after I count down.
What basically. Are you that tired you forgot how to count?
Yeah, I forgot how to count.
Oh, not on 5. On 1. 1. Oh yeah.
Alex is already doing it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. See you next time. Are we doing Friday? Are we doing Friday?
Yeah, no, you are.
Are you?
You are.
Am I doing it by myself?
I mean,
we might see you Friday. Click that notification bell. Take it easy.
This is Broken Matt Hardy. Thank you for watching the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast.